Are you dealing with a picky eater? Is it spring break and you're thinking you might want to refocus on nutrition for your family? Today's video is all for you. We're going to offer some nutritional hacks for selective eaters and fun spring and summer vegetables to focus on.
Welcome to the Beehive Doc Talks with Dr. Blair Rolnick. As a pediatrician and mother herself, Dr. Rolnick is here to answer your most pressing parenting questions and guide you through the tough spots.
Welcome back to Mealtime Pediatrics. For those of you who are new to the show, my name is Dr. Blair Rolnick. I'm a board-certified pediatrician and mom myself. We're here in New Jersey, and so in New Jersey, we happen to get some great fruits and veggies for the springtime. And so I wanted to talk about a topic that's pretty near and dear to me, and that's nutrition. Also, as we're moving into summer and kids are getting out of school, sometimes I have patients who want to set a summer goal of refocusing on nutrition for their family. And so I think this is a great time to talk about springtime fruits and vegetables, nutrition in general, as well as some great hacks if you have a picky eater on your hands. So let's dive in. So first, let's take a moment and talk about picky eating. I have tons of parents ask me, is this normal for my child to be this picky or selective in their eating? And particularly in that preschool toddler age, absolutely yes. There's tons of reasons why children are more picky than adults. So the first reason has to do with their actual taste buds. Children's taste buds are actually a little bit more heightened and sensitive compared to adults. So things like broccoli can taste extra sour or bitter to them compared to an adult taste bud. So that's one part of the problem. Two, as we all know, our little toddlers love what control they do have. So they like to have control, particularly around consistency of foods and foods that are consistent every time. Like if you have a pouch of food that's a fairly consistent consistency, are preferable to them, and things are more surprising. Like if you bite into an apple, sometimes it might be crisp, sometimes it might be soft. It's not exactly the same every time. That combination of extra sensitive taste buds plus not really liking inconsistent consistency kind of leads to more selective eating in the toddler age. The good news is you're definitely not alone. Every toddler parent and preschool parent will tell you they're going through the same thing. And even sometimes some school-age parents are still dealing with some lingering selective eating. The ways to address picky eating really have to do with being consistent, staying positive, especially around food time and meal messaging. And if you can, kind of sneaking in some creative and fun hacks to make dinner time a little bit, or lunchtime, mealtime in general, a little bit more fun. Let's talk about hacks for a second. So fun presentation is the number one hack, especially for your school age, preschool, and toddler age child. Those can be things like creating a bento box. Children love different sections for their food. Cookie cutters. Kids like to actually play with their food, so being able to cut it into little cookie shapes is an extremely fun way for them to involve them in their meal. Little skewers and sticks, veggies into food art, or dips. Allowing your child to have separate ingredients and dip them into things also is a particularly fun activity for the preschool and toddler age child. Pairing new or a favorite thing with something new. So a familiar taste or a favorite taste with a new taste can be a really great way to help encourage children to explore new foods. So let's say, for example, your child absolutely loves rice. You can pair rice with maybe broccoli. Or if they really, really like hummus and they're not so into carrots, you can give them hummus and carrots as the dipping option. So there's tons of great ways to think about pairing a beloved food with maybe a new food that you want to encourage them to try. Let them play with food. So this is one of my favorites because for a long time, all of us grew up hearing the mantra, like, don't play with your food. But actually letting children play with their food encourages adventurosity, and it also encourages letting them taste foods. And it also keeps it fun. So one of the worst things you can do is actually comment on a child's eating all the time. You have to eat this before you eat that. You need to take two more bites of this before you can have that. You haven't eaten enough of this. If you just step back and let them play a little bit and try to not comment so much on what they're eating, that can really encourage them to be more adventurous in their eating. Number 4 is probably my all-time favorite hack, and that's actually involving them in the cooking. Or even in the grocery shopping. Children are much, much more likely to try something if they have actually made it themselves. Also, it empowers them. And toddlers and even up to school age children really like feeling like they are doing something that is constructive and helping the family. So helping them get involved in that grocery shopping, as well as the cooking is a great way to get them involved in the kitchen. And they might be willing to even try something that is part of the recipe on its own first. So if you're having them help you prepare a fruit or veggie for a larger recipe, they might want to try those individual ingredients on their own as they're cooking. The last one's kind of we call it the 2-bite rule. So it's an encouraging rule. You never want to force this, but encourage or ask your child if they'd be willing to try just 2 bites of something. 2 bites is usually a reasonable number for most children. It's not overwhelming, and it might be enough to help them build tolerance or get used to a new consistency as opposing to trying to have them complete that entire plate. So we are in springtime, and I did want to focus on some springtime seasonally available whole foods that are great for your kids to try. One of my absolute favorites and one of my son's favorites are definitely strawberries. They're sweet, they're bright, they're fun colored, and you can prepare them lots of different ways and add them to lots of different things. So you can try putting them on little skewers. You can try slicing them and preparing them in new ways. You can try adding them to new things, like maybe a new yogurt or a yogurt dip. So that's a great whole food that, again, is minimally processed, and you can offer your child with breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or as a snack, as a new food to try if they haven't had it yet. Carrots are also a seasonally available vegetable that are great. They're crunchy when you serve them raw. If you steam them, they're soft and sweet. They can be made into carrot hummus or bean dips. You can add them to a snack like cheese for whole fats. And so that can be a really nice way to add a vegetable in multiple different ways and prepare it in multiple different ways and get a great nutritional boost. Also, whole food and minimally processed. Peas are actually at the top of my list for the spring because they're naturally sweet. They're fun because they're bite-sized. Kids love the way they roll around on their plate. You can try them fresh. You can try them steamed. You can mix them into rice. You can add cheese to them. You can make them into a dip. They're a great source of protein. You just want to make sure that they're prepared appropriately for your child's age because they are quite tiny. Asparagus is another really great springtime vegetable. It's available here in New Jersey. You can roast it, you can steam it, you can add cheese to it, you can add eggs, you can let your child eat it raw and dip it. So dipping, again, is a really fun time favorite for many children. Also, you can puree it and make it into a fun dip and has lots of great micronutrients. Kind of another one that I really like in the spring is spinach or escarole. These are nice leafy greens. They have a little bit more of a bitter taste when they're more mature. So if you want to use a baby spinach, if you're finding that mature spinach is too bitter for your child, you can blend them and add them to things really easily, especially baby spinach can be added to smoothies to make it a little bit sweeter. You can scramble them and add them to eggs. You can saute them, you can steam them, add them to soup. So another really fun way to get a new veggie into your kid's diet. And I'll finish with the Jersey's last most famous vegetable potentially, and that's tomatoes. So tomatoes are super fun. They're brightly colored. They come in lots of different colors, so you can help your child get involved in picking different colors like yellow, green, purple, red. You can roast them. They can have them raw. You can add a little sprinkle of salt and have your child try one with salt and one without for fun. And so there's tons of different ways you can cut these and prepare them and make them a fun and interesting option for your child. Again, another great dipping vegetable. So something that can be added to a dip potentially for extra micronutrients. So you can pair this with a yogurt or hummus dip for protein plus some micronutrients there on the side. So we've talked a little bit about hacks to get your picky eater interested in foods, and we've talked about some foods that might be a good idea to try. Now let's talk briefly about things not to do. So you really want to put at the top of your list avoiding power struggles, and the best way to do that as a parent is to try to do your best not to force or bribe or punish your child around food. It can really create long-term negative associations for them, and food can become more of an issue of control for them. So you really want to, in your mind, try to divide up your responsibility. As a parent, you are certainly responsible for what, when, and where they eat. So whether they're eating in the kitchen or in front of the TV, whether they're eating at dinner time or they're being allowed to have a snack later on, and what things are on the plate. Your child really needs to be in control of whether they eat and how much. I can tell you as a parent, this is the hardest thing when you see your child not eating a meal. You're really, really inclined to either force or bribe them to finish that meal because you don't want them to be hungry and you want them to grow. But I promise if your child is hungry, they will eat as long as you presented them with at least one food that is a trusted food. So not everything on the plate should be new. There should be at least one thing that they trust and like, and then maybe a couple new things. And it's okay if they skip a veggie for one night. The long-term goal is to build trust and to make them have a positive experience with mealtime so that they're more willing to accept foods and have fun with food. So just a quick recap, offer things that are colorful and fun. Definitely get them involved in the grocery shopping and the preparing of the food. You can get creative in the way that you present and prepare food. Try to keep it low pressure. Try to keep it high fun. Get your kids involved in the process. Remember, this is just a phase. If you're patient, your child will eventually get through this. And hopefully this is an episode that everybody finds helpful, right? Getting out of school and getting into summer break.
Thank you for watching the Beehive Doc Talks with Dr. Blair Rolnick. For more episodes and her practice, visit BeKindPediatrics.com, and don't forget to subscribe for more parenting tips wherever you get your podcasts. This information is for educational purposes only. It is not medical advice. Always seek medical advice from a qualified physician.